Yo, what's going on, guys? Today, I got a very special video for you. Today, I am bringing forward the Gunna Rapper Report Card. Now, this has been in the works for a while. I obviously went through, listened to all 8 solo Gunna albums, as well as his collab album with Lil Baby, some Lucy's as well. And man, it was not the most enjoyable experience. Gunna's not someone I really felt like I needed to hear every one of his albums, especially his earlier shit. But I mean, yeah, there's a lot to talk about right now. Gunna is one of the hottest names in the game right now. Despite surrounding his snitching situation and the Young Thug case, I don't want to get into it too much because I honestly don't really care. That's got nothing to do with the music, and whatever happened, happened. I will say, I'm surprised to see how well Gunna is doing in his career post that. Because, I mean, you look at someone like 6ix9ine, and that killed 6ix9ine's career, but also people just wanted a reason to hate him. I didn't realize people wanted a reason to like Gunna so much. I didn't realize he really had fans or people that like really fucked with him super heavy. I thought he was one of these artists that has a lot more of a casual fan base. Clearly that's not true. He's still selling out shows. His album did really fucking well, obviously, and people are still checking for him. So good for him. Me personally, though, I've never been a big fan of Gunna. I don't listen to him a lot. He's got some bangers. He's got some great features. Normally, if I'm listening to Gunna, it's because either he's having a great feature and is linked up with an artist I like, or an artist I like is linked up and having a great feature with him. Because I'm not really a big fan of Gunna, personally. Not my cup of tea. Always preferred Lil Baby, and I don't think Gunna is a very good rapper all around, but we'll get into that later. And yeah, I would say pretty objectively, Gunna is not the best rapper. I mean, maybe technically wise, again, we'll get into this later. It's really more so what he raps about, the repetitiveness and the redundancy. And I mean, I don't know about you guys. I first heard Gunna in 2018 when he dropped the album with Lil Baby, when Drip Too Hard was going crazy. That was my first real introduction to him. So I've been familiar with Gunna for the last 5 years or so. I noticed that I really get any major personal enjoyment from outside of certain songs and features. So yeah, let's start off with the discography ranking. This will definitely not be as lengthy as the one I did for J. Cole's, for example, because there's a lot less to talk about here, considering how, again, repetitive and redundant, like I just said, Gunna's music is, especially to me. His albums aren't very different from each other and not very diverse. It's not like there's a lot of concepts or anything I really have to address. It's just pretty standard, straightforward trap music. Coming in at number 9, we have Drip or Drown 2, which first of all does have the best album cover of any Gunna album. I mean, him in the pool with the Louis Vuitton fit and the umbrella. I mean, that's a classic, guys. That is a classic. But in terms of the music quality, really bad for the most part. This is Gunna's most boring album to me. We do get these aquatic and ethereal type aesthetics in the instrumentals throughout the album, which does give it a little bit of sonic cohesion, but again, we're getting a lot of reused drum patterns and the same type of string type turbo beats throughout the whole album that we get pretty much throughout Gunna's whole discography here. So despite, there is some cohesion there, it's still not good production overall. The flows and lyrics are not great or get pretty stale, which I've come to expect from Gunna at this point. And I mean, yeah, overall, pretty forgettable record outside of like Baby Birkin and Three-Headed Snake. That's a banger, low-key, but everything else here is trash. Coming in at number 9 on the placement. For those reasons, I will be giving Drip or Drown 2 a 3.4 out of 10. Moving on to number 8, we're going to be talking about Drip Season, which is Gunna's first project. If you go and look through his Spotify catalog, I'm not too well versed in if he has a large mixtape catalog of stuff on like SoundCloud or Spinrilla or anything like that. I don't know. I just went based off what's on his Spotify. And again, according to that, this is his first official project. Came out back in 2016, I believe. And yeah, I mean, it's not great. Out of Sight, Out of Mind is the only real salvageable song here, and it is a banger, but everything else I could just leave. A lot of fast-paced drums and keys in the instrumentals here, as well as a lot of rapping about oral sex and Gunna's drip, which, again, most of the catalog, that is what Gunna's known for. We also get some terrible vocal inflections from Gunna. I will say one of the cool things about this is with it being earlier, this is before Gunna was a super auto-crooning drenched rapper who always has hella auto-tune on his voice and hella vocal effects. You actually get to hear some raw Gunna vocals here from time to time, or at least some less edited ones. And that always nice. It makes Gunna sound more human, less robotic. Number 8 on the list, and a 3.8 out of 10. Number 7, we got Drip or Drown, which is actually a 7-track album, so pretty fitting to be this low here. And again, this is another project where there is only one really memorable or salvageable song, where it is the self-titled track, Drip or Drown. And there's a strong chorus here. We get some memorable bars like, I got 21 bitches, I might be a savage, from Gunna. But again, overall, not a great album. Overall, low quality mixing too, not the best audio quality. And for those reasons, I will be giving Drip or Drown a 4.2 out of 10. At number 6, we got Gunna's most recent project, A Gift and a Curse, which I just did a full-length review on. Go check it out. I'm not going to get too deep on it here, but main takeaways from this album for me is that this is one of the most boring and bland Gunna albums production-wise. It is a very gray soundscape to me, An album like Wanna has a very colorful soundscape, very vibrant, and here it is just boring, and Gunna's lifeless, monotone verses and deliveries do not help that case out either. For those reasons, I will be giving A Gift and a Curse a 4.8 out of 10. And moving on to number 5, we're in the top 5 now, Gunna albums. We got Drip Season 3. I know a lot of people praise this as one of Gunna's best or one of their favorites by him. And for me, it's fine, not the biggest fan. We do get a lot of great flows from Gunna here, but a track like Top Off is just annoying to me. I know a lot of people love that song. It's a really bad, really low effort, in my opinion. And on that track, you'll get a bar from Gunna like, hit that pussy like golf ball, which is... We could discuss amongst yourself in the comments on that one, guys. And again, this is another project with a pretty weak overall mix, not the best audio quality. And what really sours this album for me is on the song with Nav. I'm not gonna lie, I forget what it's called. I don't really care what it's called. It wasn't that good. Especially when Nav says that he isn't driving no CRVs. Now, Nav, I don't know what your issue with a Honda CRV is. Those are fucking excellent cars, an excellent way to get from place to place. So I don't know what you're trying to say, that you're not driving one. But yeah, I mean, that really just left a bad taste in my mouth to see have an artist like Nav come in here and just talk all that disrespectful shit for no reason. It's a little bit crazy, and it does bog this album down a little bit in my eyes. And for those reasons, Drip Season 3, 5.3 out of 10. It's pretty mid. At number 4, we have another Gunna album that people hold in a very high esteem. We are talking about Wanna. Here we have another legendary album cover from Gunna. I mean, I honestly kind of want to get that cover tattooed right on my chest, like probably right up here, just Gunna hitting the little fucking spread. Because, man, if that isn't some great album art for a great album. Here we're getting some pretty standard, ethereal type Gunna B-Start album. I will say this is Gunna's best produced album. I love the soundscape here. Gunna as a rapper here. Pretty overall miss, but there are a lot of super fun and cool beats, especially a track like Rockstar, Bikers, and Chains. Very slept on song. Shout out to that beat, though. The beat is crazy on there. A track like Skybox highlights these exotic strings and atmospheric synths that make this soundscape so great. I think this is probably Gunna's best song. It's just a super cloudy, super low-key, chill banger. Also on a track like Blindfold with Lil Baby, we get a ruthless chorus from Gunna where he's rapping his ass off. And again, overall, this album is a pretty mixed bag. There are a lot of highlights here, but there's also a handful of trash songs. So for those reasons, I will be giving Wanna a 5.4 out of 10. Also mid. Tapping into the top 3, we're moving on to Drip Season 2, which I think is probably going to take a lot of Gunna fans who might be watching this for a surprise. I feel like this is not a very talked about album. Definitely one of the ones I see least discussed online. And this is definitely, again, this is top 3. This is one of Gunna's better albums, in my opinion, to be honest. We get a lot of great and infectious cadences from Gunna here. Vocally, this is kind of where he's at his best. We do get a lot of, again, Gunna's best flow, some of his best rapping and songwriting here. Not lyric-wise, just song structure. Because, again, lyric and content-wise, we are treated to all of that good Zans and Cars and some of that sloppy toppy that Gunna is always rapping about. And Drip Season 2 is sitting at a 5.8 out of 10 for me. Also still mid. At number 2, we got Gunna's collab album with Lil Baby, Drip Harder. I used to not be that big a fan of this album. I'm still not the biggest fan of it, but I do think it's a good album upon re-listen. There are definitely some misses here, like on a track like My Jeans or Seals Pills, but there's a handful of bangers and memorable tracks here. But I will say a lot of the best moments are carried by Lil Baby. Don't let it fool you. If this was a solo Gunna album, it would not be this high. You look at a track like Close Friends, which is a solo Lil Baby track and one of the best here. You look at a track like Never Recover, where Baby is putting on an awesome verse, as well as Drake. And Gunna does his thing, again, very inoffensive. That's honestly a good word I would use to describe Gunna as a rapper. Pretty inoffensive. Yeah, I did want to point out, on a song like Never Recover, you do get a bar from Lil Baby. Don't gotta drip, I could leave it to Gunna. Now, I just want to take a second to talk about what this lyric implies, because obviously it's not super complex or deep, but what Lil Baby is saying is that he doesn't have to drip at all. He could wear anything. He could pull up to the function with the sweats. He could pull up to the function in some shitty ass fucking Marshall's clothing. He could pull up to the fucking function in a potato sack, bro. If he's with Gunna, he has the drip by association. And that's just we all saw the picture, the one that we've seen all the pictures. No one's out here dripping like Gunna. That's why he's out here doing this drip season, doing this drip or drown. He knows what he's talking about, and it's just crazy to think that he could elevate anyone else's drip just by gracing them with his presence. Honestly, just a hilarious bar on a fucking banger. Never Recover is really one of the best songs, at least best trap hit songs to come out in the last 5 years or so, I'd say. And yeah, 6.1 out of 10 on Drip Holder. Good album. On number 1, we have DS Forever, which is another album that definitely grown on me upon revisiting it. I wasn't a big fan of this when it came out, and I definitely wouldn't have said it to be Gunna's best album when it came out. But again, upon re-listening for this video, I was very pleasantly surprised with the quality of the production and how many songs I really enjoyed here. It does, to me, I at least feel like Gunna put some actual thought into maintaining a vibe throughout the album, into the sequencing of the track list and stuff like that. This does feel like a very well thought out Gunna project. Not that this is the only one. I feel like A Gift and a Curse, also there was some intention with that album. I just feel like it didn't go over that well. But again, here we are seeing Gunna moving with intent, more so than we ever have. I don't know if I personally would say that he hasn't, but again, he might think of Drip or Drown 2 as a crazy conceptual album, and he had a huge vision for it. I don't know, man. Also, we had a slew of great features on this album from rappers like Future, Young Thug, 21 Savage, Kodak Black, some of which appear multiple times. And this album's just a super fun time. I wish I was listening to it more last year. You also have the infamous Freddie Gibbs diss on Poochie Gown. Fucking hilarious, fucking comedy. Obviously, that was hyped up for no reason, just for Gunna to say, can't fuck with Freddie Gibbs, he telling fibs. Freddie Gibbs would obviously destroy Gunna in a rap battle. It was a cute little moment for the online hip-hop community to see those two random rappers beefing. Yeah, Gunna's highest rated album, number 1 on the list. Gunna's best album to me, DS Forever. I'll be giving it a 6.3 out of 10. It's a good album. Next up, I wanted to talk about some essential tracks, some bangers that I took on this trip down Gunna's catalog, some of the better songs, some of which I already talked about, Out of Sight, Out of Mind, the intro to Drip Season. On Drip Season 2 as well, you got bangers like Phase and YSL with Playboy Cardi, which is, of course, a nice little deep cut. I know my Gunna fans, I know my opium heads out there know about YSL. Also, the self-titled Drip or Drown track on Drip or Drown that I mentioned briefly. Drip Too Hard and Never Recover as well, briefly mentioned on Drip Harder. Those are some classic songs, and pretty, they define a little time period. That late 2018 when Lil Baby and Gunna were both on the come up, that was a time. You had to be there for that. In terms of a few other tracks that I didn't mention, Dollars on My Head with Young Thug off of Wanna, banger. One Watch off of the Deluxe as well, another great track. And then of course on DS Forever, there are actually a couple songs I took out here. Mop with Young Thug, I love that song, it's super fun. Nutted all over her face, now she looked like a cow. Just one of those tracks where Thug and Gunna are just having fun in the booth. Kind of like a track like Ski, you love to see it. Always a great time when Thug and Gunna are linked up like that. Unlikely we see it again, so gotta appreciate it where it is. Also, How You Did That with Kodak, banger. P-Power, controversial song, I know. And I will say Pushin' P's kind of trash, but P-Power. I know a lot of people don't like that song. I love Gunna's performance on there. I love Drake's performance, and I love the beat. People could say what you want about the moaning in there. I know that really ruins the track for people, puts people off. Sucks for you, Snowflake. You're missing out on a banger. I think that enhances the track and the atmosphere of it. I mean, that's clearly the type of song that Gunna and Drake went for here, and I think they did a great job with it. Also, Fuck You Mean, a song that was inescapable this summer, kind of hard not to fuck with it, because you was hearing it in every store you went fucking clothes shopping in. Now we get to the verdict, we get to the actual report card, ladies and gentlemen. It's safe to say that if this was a school and I'm the teacher, Gunna, bad news. I mean, not bad news, good news. I guess you just narrowly are escaping summer school, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Maybe take a few classes over the summer type shit. You know what I'm saying. Starting off with choruses / hooks, I'm giving Gunna a 5 out of 10. I mean, self-explanatory. I think Gunna's pretty mid when it comes to choruses. He got some that are good, a lot that are bad. It's one of Gunna's traits. Talking about content, that's a 2 out of 10 easy. Like I said multiple times throughout the video, all this guy talks about is drugs, sex, and drip. Creativity, 3 out of 10 as well. I mean, I feel like Gunna's definitely not the most original rapper out there, and I feel like he hasn't done much to evolve his sound throughout the period of time he's been rapping, and his sound as is pretty generic, run-of-the-mill, typical, mainstream, which is fine to be mainstream, bro, but bring a little something else. Gunna, some of the most standard trap music you could consume. Delivery, 4.5 out of 10. I've never really been a big fan of Gunna's delivery, especially when he's getting all light, when he lowers his tone and gets a little whispery. I'm not the biggest fan of that. Again, he's one of those rappers, when he sings, he really does not sound that good for the most part. He has 1 or 2 good singing performances, but overall, it's not hitting. Discography, 4 out of 10. I mean, I just ran through it. We saw the scores. It's a pretty fucking weak discography. Gunna only has 1 good solo album to me. I would say that's a good sign of a weak discography. Although, he doesn't have any, like, disgracefully trash albums. You do have, you know, a couple of 3s on there, but it could be worse. Evolution, 4 out of 10. Similar to Creativity, like I said, he has not done anything to really change his sound over the course of his career, really just playing with auto-tune and mixing up the instrumentals a little bit. In terms of features, I feel like Gunna's definitely got to get a 7 out of 10, one of his higher scores, because Gunna is known to have a good feature. I don't think he's like one of these glitch features where every feature is gas, but Gunna is known to do his thing on a good feature or two, you know? Part of the reason why he's so great at that is his flow, again. One of, if not Gunna's best quality as a rapper is his flow. He has a lot of really good fast-paced flows. He getting some nice staccato-type flows, getting a little bag. He is slippery smooth. He does tend to recycle flows from time to time, but overall, I feel like he's pretty great at what he does. Flows are 7.5 out of 10. Hit-making ability, that's another 7.5 out of 10. I was thinking about boosting it to 8, but I don't know. Because Gunna does, like, he has hits, like Fuck You Mean and Pushin' P that were huge, but, like, Gunna's hits feel so manufactured to me, where I feel like a lot of his hit songs, I never hear people play. You know what I mean? Like, they're around and they're big. The big, like, TikTok and social media presence is there, but in terms of, like, people actually banging the songs, feels a little plastic. He feels a little disingenuine, but he does have the stats, the streams, and the accolades to prove that he is a hit maker. Influence, 5 out of 10. A little weird because there are a lot of Gunna-type wannabe clones, and I'm not going to attribute that just to him. You also got to look at more so Future and Young Thug, giving them credit. Overall lyricism, 2 out of 10 here, guys. I mean, I could have just made this like a 30-minute long video of me listing off shitty Gunna lyrics, you know what I'm saying? I think even the biggest Gunna fan would admit that he leaves a lot to be desired in terms of his pen game. Personal enjoyment, 3.5 for me. Again, there are some tracks and features that I enjoy, but I never really enjoy them for Gunna's performances. He's just a part of them. And, you know, taking that into account, as well as the fact that I don't really spin a lot of Gunna, not someone I listen to that much, you know, he's not an artist I'm personally a fan of. His production overall, this might be controversial. I know a lot of people fuck with Gunna heavy because his production. I think his production is boring, bland, generic. Like I've said before, it also gets pretty stale quickly because it is a little repetitive, a little redundant, especially within the same albums. 4 out of 10 on the production, because there are some great beats in his catalogs. Like I mentioned, Rockstar Bikers and Chains is for sure a standout. Overall rapping ability, I would give Gunna a 7 out of 10. I feel like he really could be a pretty fucking great technical MC when he wants to rap. He just never has much to say, or never has great production to slide over. Singing ability, I kind of already touched on this, 2 out of 10. And in terms of his soundscapes, I give him a 4.5 out of 10, because like I said, even a bad album like Trip or Drown 2 does have a cohesive soundscape. So and Wanna and DS Forever as well, A Gift and a Curse, do have these cohesive type of soundscapes where a lot of the production is very similar. Now, the production not being good does bring this down a little bit, but Gunna does know how to curate a pretty good track list of instrumentals at the very least that all have a similar, whether it be like ethereal or aquatic like I mentioned before, or like a more somber and low-key type vibe. I gave him a 1 out of 10 on the storytelling. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Versatility, 2.5, because I mean, again, Gunna's a very rinse and repeat rapper. Vocals, 3 out of 10. Again, Gunna's not the best singer. I think he has a bad voice, and I don't think he sounds even worse when he's drenched in auto-tune. And finally, we got wordplay, which again, definitely not Gunna's strong suit. 1.5 out of 10. As you can see, Gunna's not really the best rapper to me. He definitely has enjoyable moments and songs, but overall, we're looking at a pretty bad rapper. We're looking at someone who isn't innovative, doesn't put much thought or effort into their lyrics, and crutches on the same type of instrumentals and features to get good songs. And I mean, yeah, I'm sorry to do it to Gunna, but I gotta throw him in the D tier. I mean, yeah, that's it for me. I got nothing much else to say. I appreciate you guys checking this out. Stay safe, y'all, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.